Impressive work, James, Marcus said. Scrolling through my presentation, I felt a surge of pride. This security system had the potential to revolutionize how corporate networks are protected. I nodded, keeping my expression neutral, trying not to show how proud I was of the project I'd spent the last 2 years developing. Thank you, sir. The neural network's ability to detect and adapt to new cyber threats is completely unique. We could patent this within months. At 32, I had just created something that could change the cybersecurity industry forever. An artificial intelligence system capable of learning and evolving faster than any hacker, protecting networks in real time without human intervention. It was the future of cybersecurity. The board meeting is next week, Marcus continued, leaning back in his leather chair. I want you to send me all the documentation, every line of code, every test result. Something in his tone made me hesitate. In my 5 years at TechShield Industries, I had learned to read my boss's moods. And right then, something wasn't right. Of course, I said carefully, though I should be the one to explain the technical aspects. That won't be necessary, he cut in smoothly. I understand it well enough to present it myself. Of course he did. Marcus had been taking more and more credit for my work lately. At first, it was just small things, like a feature here, an innovation there. But this was different. This was my life's work. That evening, as I was preparing the files he requested, I got a message from Sarah in HR. Emergency meeting tomorrow, 9:00 a.m. now, mandatory. I sat back in my chair. The pieces began to click into place. Marcus wouldn't dare. The next morning, I walked into the conference room to find Marcus, Sarah, and 2 security guards waiting. James, Marcus began, his smile never reaching his eyes. We've discovered some concerning behaviour. Unauthorised use of company resources, working on personal projects during company time. I stayed silent, watching as he laid out his trap. Furthermore, he continued, you violated your contract by developing competing technology while employed here. All your work belongs to TechShield. We'll be taking control of the project effective immediately. You mean you'll be taking control? I asked quietly, the edge in my voice barely noticeable. His smile widened. Pack your things. Security will escort you out. As I gathered my belongings, I could see Marcus already rehearsing his board presentation through his office window. He thought he'd won, that he'd stolen 2 years of my work with a few fabricated accusations. What he didn't know was that I'd seen this coming months ago. The AI system had one feature he couldn't anticipate, something I hadn't documented. A specialized code, buried deep in its neural pathways, designed to activate exactly 30 days after deployment. That night, as I sat in my apartment, I opened my laptop and checked the hidden backup server where I'd been documenting everything. Every conversation with Marcus, every stolen idea, every manipulated report. But most importantly, I checked the hidden code I'd left in place. My phone buzzed. It was a message from Tom in it. He's already modified the base code, trying to make it look like his work, just like you said he would. I smiled, thinking about the trap Marcus was walking into. He was so busy erasing my fingerprints from the project that he didn't realize he was actually arming the trigger. In 30 days, when the system went live for the board, it would do exactly what it was designed to do: expose every security threat within the company, including the ones hiding in the CEO's office. Over the next few weeks, I watched from the shadows, letting Marcus do his thing while Tom kept me updated on every change, every modification, every attempt to erase my contribution. He's completely rewriting the documentation, Tom messaged one evening, removing all traces of your name, but he doesn't understand half of the architecture. He's making mistakes. Perfect. Every change Marcus made to try and cover his tracks only reinforced the hidden protocol I'd built into the system's core. It was like a digital immune system, designed to recognize and remember its original creator. Every error he made, every forced adjustment, was a step closer to the reckoning that was about to unfold. 20 days after my firing, I received an unexpected visitor. It was Sarah from HR, standing nervously at my apartment door. "James," she said quickly, glancing over her shoulder as if she expected someone to be following her. "I need to tell you something about Marcus." I let her in, trying not to let my curiosity show. Sarah had always been Marcus's loyal soldier, doing his bidding without question. Now she was standing in front of me, looking more like a whistleblower than the enforcer I'd once known. "He's done this before," she said, perching on the edge of my couch. "At his last company, he stole a major project and fired the developer. The guy tried to sue, but..." She paused, her eyes darkening. "The evidence disappeared, just like your personnel files are disappearing now." I kept my face neutral, careful not to reveal how much this information meant. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because it's wrong," she said firmly, "and because I found something when I was archiving your files." She pulled out a thumb drive, holding it between us like a secret weapon. "Original project proposals from 2 years ago. Your proposals, with timestamps and signatures. Marcus must have missed these." I took the drive from her, already knowing that this would fit perfectly with the growing pile of evidence I had been collecting. "Thank you, Sarah. But aren't you worried about your job?" She stood up, straightening her blazer, her eyes hardening with resolve. "Some things are more important than jobs, James. Besides," she smiled slightly, "I already have interviews lined up at other companies. What Marcus is doing, it's not just wrong, it's illegal." After she left, I checked my hidden server again. 10 days until activation. Marcus had scheduled the board presentation for exactly 30 days after my firing, trying to assert his ownership of the project as quickly as possible. My phone buzzed. Tom again. "You need to see this." He sent me a link, and I logged in remotely through the secure connection Tom had maintained. There it was. Marcus attempting to patch in new security protocols, clumsily trying to modify the AI's fundamental architecture to make it look like his own work. Every messy modification he made was like a poorly executed stitch in a wound, creating new vulnerabilities, new gaps in the system that would be exposed when the hidden protocol activated. The system had been designed to adapt, and now every change Marcus made was making it more volatile, more dangerous. 7 days before the presentation, I received another unexpected message, this time from Marcus himself. "James," the message began, "upon review, perhaps we were hasty in terminating your position. Would you be interested in discussing a consulting role? Limited scope, of course." Marcus was getting nervous. The system wasn't behaving quite the way he expected. His modifications were creating unpredictable results, and he couldn't understand why. I didn't respond. 3 days before the board meeting, Marcus tried again, this time offering a generous compensation package in exchange for my technical insights. But I wasn't interested in crumbs. I waited, watching him squirm. The day before the presentation, Tom sent the final confirmation. "Everything's in place. Marcus has scheduled a company-wide system update for tomorrow morning. The entire board will be watching the live demonstration." I smiled, thinking about the elegant simplicity of it all. Marcus had spent weeks trying to erase me from my own creation, not realizing that every change he made only strengthened its core purpose, to identify and expose security threats. And tomorrow, in front of the board, the system would identify its biggest threat of all. "Thanks, Tom," I replied. "Make sure you're recording tomorrow. Every screen, every reaction." Then I sat back, savouring the calm before the storm. The morning of the board presentation, I sat in a coffee shop across from TechShield's headquarters, watching through the live feed Tom had set up. The boardroom was full. Executives, investors, and tech journalists, all gathered to see Marcus's so-called revolutionary breakthrough. "Ladies and gentlemen," Marcus began, standing proudly at the podium, "today we unveil the future of cybersecurity, an AI system that can detect and neutralize threats in real time." I checked my watch. 3 minutes until the system update went live. "This technology, which I have developed over the past 2 years," Marcus continued, his voice full of pride, "represents a quantum leap in network protection. Allow me to demonstrate." Tom's message popped up. Update initiating. You should see his face on screen. I couldn't help but grin. Marcus clicked to start the demonstration. The massive display behind him lit up, showing the AI's interface. Everything looked normal, exactly as he expected. But then, the system spoke. Initiating security protocol, the AI's voice announced, its tone calm and unwavering. Detecting unauthorized modifications to core architecture. Marcus's smile faltered slightly. This wasn't part of his script. Warning, the AI continued. Multiple security vulnerabilities detected. Source, recent unauthorized changes to base code by user Marcus Wheeler. The color drained from Marcus's face as he frantically clicked through screens, trying to stop what was happening. But every frantic click only triggered more revelations. The display shifted, showing side-by-side comparisons. My original, elegant code versus Marcus's clumsy, reckless modifications. There were timestamps of his changes, recorded meetings where he took credit for my work, and emails where he had orchestrated my firing. What you're seeing, the AI explained to the stunned audience, is a comprehensive security audit. My primary function is to identify and expose threats to system integrity. The biggest threat detected: systematic theft of intellectual property by Marcus Wheeler. Sarah's documented evidence appeared next, proof of Marcus's pattern of stealing others' work. Then came the original project proposal sheet, time-stamped and signed, clearly showing my name. "Turn it off!" Marcus shouted, his voice cracking with desperation. But the system wasn't responding to his commands. It had already recognized him as a threat and locked him out. A board member stood up, his voice cutting through the tension. "Mr. Wheeler, what is the meaning of this?" "It's a trick," Marcus stammered, clearly panicking. "A disgruntled ex-employee." "Actually," Tom's calm voice came from the doorway, and I saw him walk in holding a stack of papers. "It's exactly what the AI is designed to do. Protect intellectual property and expose security threats. James Chen built this system. These are the original development logs proving his ownership." The room erupted into chaos. Journalists scrambled for their notepads. Investors were on their phones. And Marcus looked like a man watching his entire world collapse in real time. My phone buzzed. It was a message from the board chairman. "Mr. Chen, this is Charles Montgomery. Would you be willing to meet to discuss your AI system? The real one, not the compromised version Mr. Wheeler attempted to present?" I smiled, tapping a quick reply. "Of course, though you should know what you saw today was the real system working exactly as designed. It protects against all security threats, including corporate espionage." Within hours, Marcus was escorted out of the building by security. By evening, the scandal had hit the tech blogs. "I expose corporate theft during live demo," the headlines blared. 1 week later, I found myself across from the board of directors, explaining my true vision for the AI system. They listened intently, especially as I detailed its ethical protocols. Not just a security tool, but a system designed to ensure corporate transparency and accountability. After my presentation, Charles leaned forward. "We'd like to offer you a position," he said. "Chief Technology Officer, with full control over your AI development and, of course, complete patent rights under your name." I nodded, already knowing my answer. "I accept. But I have one condition. Tom will head my development team, and Sarah will lead a new corporate ethics division." Charles smiled. "Agreed." As for Marcus, last I heard, he was facing multiple lawsuits, not just from TechShield, but from previous companies where he'd pulled similar stunts. The AI had exposed not only his theft of my work, but a disturbing pattern of intellectual property theft spanning years. Sometimes, the best revenge isn't destruction. It's about letting the truth reveal itself at exactly the right moment. Now, whenever I walk past my old office, Marcus's former office, and my new one, I think about something my father used to say. Intelligence without integrity is a weapon pointed in the wrong direction. Marcus thought he was stealing a weapon. Instead, he armed it against himself. The AI system is now an industry standard, protecting networks from external threats. And internal ones too. Every time it identifies and stops corporate theft, I think about that board meeting, about Marcus's face when he realized the truth. He spent so much time trying to erase me from my creation. He never realized that my real signature wasn't in the documentation or the code comments. It was in the heart of the system itself, an unshakable commitment to exposing the truth. Sometimes the best security system isn't just about protecting data. Sometimes it's about protecting what's right.